Good evening. Good evening, everyone. It is a dark and cool Thursday evening here on the East Coast. I hear there's weather somewhere out there doing weathery things, weathery places. Not us, not right now. It's coming our way, I think, tomorrow. I hope everyone is having a great night. I'm excited to be here, as I always am. I love coming on live and just chatting at you because, everyone needs a hobby. That's what I do. So tonight I am talking about kindness. Kindness in general, but mostly self-kindness. And Monday, if you catch it or not, I'm not sure, I did a card pull. And my card pull was the deer spirit. You can see the card pull. I posted it in this group, also up in my YouTube channel. I always post everything up on my YouTube channel after it has been posted in the group first. So I did the card pull on the deer spirit. And the deer spirit reminds us to be diplomatic, be kind with our words, be gentle, and just come at everyone and everything with kindness, and it will be brought back to us in kind. And I thought that was just lovely, but I also want to remind people that especially at this time of year where we're giving to others, it's important to be kind to ourselves because it can be a hard time of the year. It's dark, it can be challenging gathering relatives, friends, things like that. A lot of emotions come up, so it's important to be kind to ourselves. So I wanted to talk just a little bit about the kindness to others, but also kindness to self. And another thing that happened this week was on Monday in my coaching group, our coach had us all go around and say something that we admire about the other people in the group, as well as something that we've learned from them over the course of the last year being in the group. And it was such a lovely thing to hear because cheerleading is so important. And that was something that was said about one of the amazing people in my group, is that she is a cheerleader, and that the power of cheerleading for others and how important that is to tell others what you see in them. And I'm here to also say it's important to know what people see in you, the good they see in you, and it's also important to be your own cheerleader. So one good way to find out what is good about you, especially if you're just like, I don't know what's good about me, I'm just not sure, is to ask other people. That's kind of a fun thing to do, and people are usually pretty happy to give compliments or let you know what they think of you in a positive way. It can be quite life-changing because the things that people notice about us aren't necessarily clear to us. We don't always see some of our biggest gifts. We take them for granted, we overlook them, and we just don't fully appreciate them. And hearing how much it affects other people, that's quite special. So I think that's a wonderful thing, to be a cheerleader for others, but also a cheerleader for yourself. And if you know somebody who maybe is not a good cheerleader of themselves, maybe volunteer some cheerleading for them. Let them know what you think is pretty special about them. It will have a really big effect. So let's think about doing that. And so when I talk about kindness to self, it can feel a little weird, right? So some of the things that I do for self-kindness, to let myself know that I'm worthy and deserving of kindness, not only from others, but also from myself. I have a list of things I do. Top of the list, of course, is conscious dressing. It literally is why I came up with conscious dressing, was to help me be kinder to myself, be more supportive to myself, understand that I can validate, empower, and have more confidence through my dressing. So that is how I developed it. It was a tool I was using for me, and then I decided to start sharing it with my clients. So for instance, my conscious dressing, I talk about and work with different colors and different crystals and jewelry and shapes and patterns and things, and how they make you feel, and connecting that. So tonight I'm wearing this beautiful copper necklace. It's a necklace that my sister bought me from a fabulous artist in Asheville, North Carolina, Jewelry by Nadine. She's quite wonderful metal worker. She does beautiful things. I have several pieces from her. So I have this beautiful copper on. My sister got me this set. And I just love it. And I shined it up just for tonight. Copper, copper's pretty cool because it combats lethargy, restlessness, excitability, and non-acceptance of self, which I thought, oh, how perfect that I pulled that out. It also stimulates optimism, diplomacy. There's our deer spirit, being diplomatic, and also independence. It clears out negativity and helps balance the chakras, which is phenomenal. And I have to say, I came home and changed for this live, and I put this necklace on, and I felt a shift. I felt a shift in how I was showing up. I felt lighter. I felt more balanced. And it's funny, I looked up the meaning of copper because I wanted to get it right. I wanted to have some really good stuff to share with you. And I was like, well, you know what? It really is having that effect on me. So conscious dressing. And then purple. Purple is the color of royalty, but it also relates to the crown chakra. And it relates to our dreams and our higher consciousness. And so that's always something I try to pull in when I'm doing these lives, is to tap into my higher consciousness so that I can share lovely little tidbits so that you can tap into your higher consciousness. So conscious dressing is one of the kindness things I do for myself. And I love to teach that to my clients and anyone who's interested in learning about it. It's really, really powerful. Something else I do that's kind to myself, I cook. I love to cook. I like to nourish myself. I like to nourish people around me. But there's something about creating something like a homemade soup or something, just anything I want. I think about, similar to conscious dressing, where am I? What do I need? How do I want to show up? Cooking is, what do I want? What am I craving? What am I wanting? Am I something savory or sweet? Do I want it crunchy, or do I want it like a soup, something soft? And I really get to tap into what I want and then give it to myself. And cooking is such a true way of caring for others and yourself. I love it. Baking yourself some cookies, or baking cookies for someone else, but maybe keeping couple just for yourself. All these things are so nourishing and to the kindness that you show yourself, which is so good. I also like to personally take care of my skin. I like to use lots of lovely creams and serums and make sure that I'm tending to things so that I am aging gracefully. As I said, I'm not giving up the ship easily, so I love to try new products. That's a gift for me. So I like to experiment. I like to try like trial sizes of things, and it's a great way to try new products. And my skin is not super sensitive, so I can, but I have a long list of fabulous products. So if anyone is looking for some good creams and serums and stuff, let me know. I'm happy to recommend things. I love them. Something else that's kind to myself is having great conversations with great people. And whether it's a close friend or a brand new connection, having a very deep conversation where you connect, that is kindness to me. That feels really supportive, and I always walk away going, oh, I feel filled up with that. Also learning to set some boundaries. It can be very much a kindness to yourself and to the relationships that you are fostering. And also adjusting expectations. Adjusting expectations is an unusual way to put kindness, but it is truly a kindness. If you go into a scenario with a proper expectation, you are never going to leave disappointed, upset, mad. And that makes the interaction with the other person that much richer, which provides kindness to both parties. So adjusting your expectations, again, that's a skill that needs to be worked on at times, because sometimes we don't realize our expectations are perhaps out of whack, and that's what's making things a little more challenging. But I have come to find that when I have done this, it really is a kindness to me, because I enjoy myself so much more when I'm with those people. So those are some ideas of things that are self-kindness, something to think about. So I want you to think about some of the things you do and like and enjoy, that feel good to you, and think of those as treating yourself kindly. Right? You're probably doing some stuff and you don't realize it, but being aware of how you're being kind to yourself really makes a difference. Bringing that awareness helps you appreciate the moment that much more and feel that much more supported in your life. And then the main goal is to understand you are your biggest cheerleader, you are your biggest support, you are your biggest foundation, and everybody else is a bonus. But there are some pitfalls to self-kindness. And so I'm just going to run through, just going to touch on a couple of things, just to be, again, aware of, because awareness is key when you're doing these things, to go, ooh, 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 okay. So one of the biggest things people like to do are the mantras. I am worthy, I am kind, I am loving, I am giving, I am all these things. But mantras don't work if you just say them. You can just, if you're not truly believing and wanting to invest in that sentiment behind the mantra, it can almost do more damage, because you're like, well, I've been saying these nice things to myself for months and months and months, and I don't feel any better. Well, that's because you weren't actually invested in them and you weren't buying into them. So false mantras. If you're really wanting to do mantras, work with someone to help you sort of start establishing a belief in them and understand how powerful they can be. Another pitfall of self-kindness can be the self-sabotage that comes disguised as self-kindness. So like enabling yourself to avoid something under the guise of self-care. Now, I know there's like a lot of introverts and introverted people out there who are like, oh no, I say no, and that's helping me. And yes, that's an important kindness. However, there's also a distinction between knowing where your limits are and avoiding under the guise of self-care and self-kindness. Are you avoiding things and therefore self-sabotaging yourself? So if you're avoiding networking, for instance, as a entrepreneur, a business person, that could be self-sabotaging your business, and you're getting new clients. And then it sort of just creates this horrible vortex of what, I'm being kind to myself, I don't know why my business isn't going well. It's something to be aware of. Am I creating this limit for myself for a good reason, or am I avoiding something self-sabotaging? Also, treating yourself to unhealthy things in an overindulgent way. So some, balance and having balance in what you eat and imbibe in is important, right? You want to be able to eat the chocolate cake and have all the cookies and the alcohol, the glass of wine and the glass of scotch and the pizza and all the things. But if you are doing it all the time, again, that's a self-sabotage. So you want to be aware of, well, it's like, oh, I'm being kind to myself, I'm going to have this pint of ice cream. Okay. But maybe a kinder kindness would be having a portion of that pint of ice cream less often, right? That's still kind, that's still indulging, but without overindulging. Also, spending on things that you don't need instead of putting it towards things that you truly want, your dreams, your hopes for the future. If you are tossing money at small, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna buy that top because it's on sale, and I'm gonna take myself out to dinner right now, and you know what? Maybe I'm gonna get a new car. That's what I'm gonna do. Like all the car sales, I'm gonna get a new car, but your business is failing and you're not investing in that business coach, or you've been wanting to take a class and invest in yourself and up your skills, but you've spent so much money on everything else that you don't have money for that. So just keeping an eye on those indulgences and where are those becoming a problem, right? So where are they taking away from the self-kindness, even though they seem like it's self-kindness? So it's really taking a little time to look at what these things mean to you, where you are happy in your life and where you are unhappy or lacking or wanting to be, and are they helping each other or are they hindering each other? So those are just some of the pitfalls. And of course, the last one is truly just becoming completely self-centered and self-involved and selfish, where it's just all about you. So we want to, moderation, people. We want to have a little moderation and just be aware of what we're doing, how we're doing it, when we're doing it. So a couple things I found just that made me go, ooh, that's delicious. In this book that I've talked about before, Life is Messy, that just was sent to me out of the blue. I don't know. It's just, here you go. They just sent it to me. I've gotten some interesting nuggets out of it. So this one that I found, it says, which was actually the inspiration for this week's theme, was be careful how you speak to yourself. Your words have power. You may never be quite able to fathom just how powerful they are, but don't waste this power. Use it wisely. And so that takes us back to speaking kindly to ourselves. And that's where I started this. Like I said, I started this theme this week on speaking kindly to yourself. When you have thoughts, be careful. Oh, I'm so stupid. I shouldn't have done that. Or, oh God, it really wasn't. Be careful how you say things. As we are learning how to be careful and kind with our words towards others, make sure you are being careful and kind with your words towards yourself, because it really, really does affect your self-esteem, your confidence, literally everything. So I thought that was a juicy little tidbit. I also came across something just to blur the point a bit, and kindness to others, kindness to self, they're not mutually exclusive. And this post I found the other day was just perfect, and I'm going to post it. I'll pop it up after the live because it's a really pretty visual. It's one of the accounts I follow on Instagram. It says, what can be more powerful than looking at people around you and understanding that by being kind, loving, and helpful towards them, you are also being kind, loving, and helpful towards yourself. I thought that was delicious. And the word understanding is now going into my vocabulary. That's freaking brilliant. I love it. So like I said, I will post that up for you so you can put it on your phone and really remind yourself that being kind to others is a kindness to yourself. And there's all sorts of levels of kindness, self-kindness. And that is all I wanted to say. I am going to be taking the next 2 weeks off. I'm going to take the rest of the year off from the lives. I'm going to do some recharging and come back with some really cool content. Start 2023 off with a really big bang in a great way. I'm very much excited about the new year. I was just at my hairdresser's today. Thank you, Paula Lonzi from Root Salon. She's amazing. Looks so good. I don't know if you can see the purple, but anyway, we were just talking about how we're kind of done with 2022. This was a rocky year, very emotional upheaval for a lot of people. And I'm really feeling that 2023, I'm feeling so good about what's coming. It's just, there's this fresh new energy. And so I'm looking forward to the next 2 weeks to wrap presents, bake some cookies when my girlie comes home to see me, and just seeing friends and family, and sharing lots of love with people and myself, because I'm also planning to take naps in front of the wood stove with my dog. I hope you all have an amazing holiday season. Please reach out to me if you have any questions about anything or anything you'd like to hear about in the upcoming year on my upcoming lives, because I do love doing these. So if there's anything you'd love to hear about or something you read you want to share with me, and then I can talk about that, I'd love that. I'm thinking about maybe having some guests on in the future, and I think that would be fun to have some more conversations. So I hope you all have a nourishing, loving, and amazing holiday season filled with joy. And I will see you all next year.